Nurture and support. Nurture and support. This is a podcast theme song. And it's really short.
Nurture and support begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of Nurture and Support. This is episode 97. I am Mel at Karmic9 on Twitter. Occasionally, we have special guests this week. We have John and Helena McGevna. John, say hello.
Thank you, Mel. Hi everyone. I'm John McGevna, and that's at McGevna, M-C-G-E-V-N-A on Twitter. And it's great to be here. I'm a regular follower of Nurture and Support, and to be with Mel and Kelly is a great pleasure. I'll turn it over to my better half.
Yes, Helena.
I'm Helena. Hi. And I am definitely John's better half. And on Twitter, I am at HellyMcG.
Cool. And unfortunately, that other guy, he's also back. He keeps coming back every week, you know.
Because I'm just here until the world all gets on Amazon Prime. Hi, everybody. Kelly Tool at KELLYTHUL on Twitter. And yes, I'm back too.
Yes, he's taking a break from his Prime duties to come do the podcast with us.
Man, there's a boatload of issues of the episodes of The Wire out on Amazon Prime for free. And it's gobbled a little bit of time.
Yes.
Yes, he got a special dispensation from Lord Bezos.
Yes.
Out in Amazon.
Yep. You know, they got to keep you busy, so you just keep clicking that button, getting those Prime boxes in. Oh.
It is kind of an addiction. I do love my Prime.
I do too. It's sad. And then you get to come up with craft projects to use all those boxes in. So, or get kittens. Kittens like those boxes too.
Oh, yes.
They're good for shipping kittens, I understand.
I've got a big box I've been saving just to ship these 3 kittens to you. I'll put some air holes in the box and everything. I promise.
Yeah, or anyone listening to the show, if you want to hashtag mail me a kitten to Mel.
Yep. I've got 3 of the little monsters. So, on that note, I will start us off on recommendations that, oddly enough, is also sort of pet related. I've talked about this author a little bit in the past. This is a book called Walking Your Octopus by Brian Kesinger, and it's not nearly as bad as you're thinking.
That is
It's not a fetish
code.
book. It's not a fetish book, I promise.
Right.
It's a steampunk art book. Brian Kesinger is an animator at Disney. He's worked on some of your favorite Disney movies. I've talked about his Etsy store before where he has art prints up. Essentially, a lot from this world that he's created in this book. This book is a collection of a number of them, and all of the pictures are strung together by telling a little story. So essentially, this book, Walking Your Octopus, is a guidebook to the domesticated cephalopod. In this Victorian steampunk world, there are such things as land octopus or octopi, whichever you prefer, which is what he actually starts the book off with, is talking about what is the proper plural term of octopus. I personally am a fan of octopi. Do any of you have an opinion on octopi versus octopuses?
Oh, I believe it's octopi.
I like octopi myself.
I like octopi. Unless you want to go to the datum issue, and that would sound stupid. Octopi.
I'll go with Octoplex.
Octoplex. That could work. So he ultimately concludes this section with an experiment where they actually showed an octopus some flashcards asking them to choose, and they chose octopuses, which shows you that octopi may not be as smart as we've given them credit for all of these years. However, that's okay. We'll go with it. So that's how he starts this little book off. Then we go into all of the how to choose the proper cephalopod for you. He talks about squid, which they're actually very good watch pods. They do tend to hold grudges, though, so never make your squid angry because they will never forgive you. He then talks about cuttlefish. They're good little lap pets, but apparently they're very stupid. And then you have the nautilus, which they're very aggressive and very skittish. They don't make good pets. And then the perfect cephalopod, he's good in all situations, is the octopus. And that is what this book is about. It is the story of Victoria, a green-haired Victorian steampunk woman who goes to a pet adoption and adopts Otto, an adorable little baby octopus. He's blue, by the way. And the rest of the book are their adventures in housebreaking, going to the dog park, getting dressed up in costumes for Halloween, which are things all pets should do. Pet owners should all dress their pets up. I know Kelly has pictures of his cats in costumes that he just won't share with us. I know he does.
No, I can't recall whether Jabba the Cat has made an appearance on Nurture and Support, but there's really not a costume large enough for Jabba the Cat. So no, I have not.
Okay. I'm sure. Well, we might have to ask Karen about that.
She could probably address that.
Yeah. So, how to exercise your octopus pet with a bicycle, because they have so many arms, they can pedal not only their bicycle but yours. So they're adorable, charming steampunk art that all of you know by now and are terribly sick of hearing that I like steampunk. So I think I talk about steampunk every episode. I'm sorry, I like it. It's one of the few things that brings me joy. So this is a very pretty art book. You can buy it from his website, bkartonline.com, or his Etsy store. He does sign them. They're autographed. It's a pretty little collector's book in a very pretty antique teal color that goes with the steampunk. And I think everyone would like it. The holidays are coming up. I like to give y'all things to buy me for the holidays. So it's Walking Your Octopus by Brian Kesinger. No, it is not a fetish book. It is steampunk art with an adorable pet octopus. Anybody that likes steampunk would love this book. It's totally adorable. So I think we will kick it over to Helena for her recommendation this week.
Cool. My recommendation is a website. It's called Plan to Eat, and it is a recipe management and menu planning website. It's not free. It's $39 a year, but I use it so extensively at this point that I don't think I could cook without it. I've been a member since 2011, and I just love it. It has the capacity to put a button on your web browser so that you can save recipes really easily from all over the web. You can drag and drop different recipes to the day that you want to make them. It will automatically generate a shopping list for you. It does have a sharing ability, or like an ability to be able to follow people, but it's really clumsy. You can email your recipes around. You can, they're very attractive when they're printed if you want to print them. I'm very driven by using a recipe to cook with. I'm not a creative cook. So I would be lost without Plan to Eat.
Cool.
So you say you're recipe driven. Does that include like the actual measurements? Or
Yes.
do you kind of go, once you know what they are, do you actually measure it, or do you eyeball it?
Sometimes I eyeball it, but mostly I measure. I'm kind of anal. I, in fact, like to weigh stuff as opposed to measure it out because I'm really anal.
No, you just like things to be consistent.
And precise.
That's right. That is a good trait.
Freaks me out when people don't do something. It's just like, this could go bad. This could go horribly wrong.
That's right. So the import process on the web works well?
Very well. It's really, in fact, they've recently made an update, and it's even better than it had been. I do it all the time. You can input stuff by hand, but that's like typing out a recipe by hand. But
And who's going to do that?
yeah, who's going to do that?
Right.
So this way, I mean, it comes in really easily. You have the ability to manage what courses you use. You can tag stuff.
Okay. Sorry. We got a little lag right there. But yeah, $39 for a year is a great price on something like that, because I've looked at a lot of those before, and they're usually like $10 a month. So that's a good price.
Yeah, they can get expensive. I looked at one that was $15 a month, and it was,
Yeah.
what is this going to do for me?
Right. That's a pretty steep price.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I like that one. I'm definitely going to check that one out, because I've talked about a few recipe type things on the show before, and I'm always looking for new, better ones that do the import process well, because that's so important. And so many of them, they try really hard, they just don't get it. They just don't get it working well. And
Yeah, this one, and as I said, since they've made their update, it's really gotten good.
Good. I like that. Cool. So that was plantoeat.com?
Correct.
Cool. All right. So we'll check that one out. And John, what do you have for us this week?
Well, Mel, I have a book I'd like to recommend to you. A lot of people know that I spent over 30 years as an employee of the CIA, but I was assigned during my career to a little known organization called the National Photographic Interpretation Center, which was located in a rather dicey part of Washington, D.C., at First and M Street and Southeast, in a building that was, as Helena likes to call it, the UPS warehouse, a windowless former gun factory. Now, as I say, NPIC is a little-known organization, first came to any real attention during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, with its photographs of Cuba that almost got us into a nuclear war with the Soviet Union. But the area that it really came in and showed its numbers again more recently was in April 26, 1986, when two operational nuclear reactors at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant about 70 miles from Kiev exploded. The explosion released a lot of radioactive gas that day, and it wasn't detected until Sunday at a Swedish nuclear power plant when the alarm started to go off for no apparent reason. Nobody could get any word from the Soviet Union on what was going on, and or confirmation of any kind of accident. And it was they recorded recording of higher radiations than usual radioactivity verified that week, and the U.S. government wanted to know what went wrong. And the intelligence community went crazy. They wanted to know, where was the radiation coming from? Was it a leak, an accident, an explosion? How much area was contaminated and how badly? And was the Soviet government or the Soviet military doing anything? And they wanted answers, and they wanted quickly. And this is where NPIC really came into its own. And in this book, you get a feeling for how this organization came to be and how it was created. It was originally started by a fellow named Art Lundahl, very important figure in the intelligence history. And if you like shows like Homeland and other espionage, like the James Bond shows, and you want to get a real feel for the day-to-day drudgery of what the work was like and what the real gains that were made in the intelligence community, this NPIC, Seeing the Secrets and Growing the Leaders, a cultural history of the National Photographic Interpretation Center, gives you a real feel for how this organization was made. It was written by one of my colleagues, Jack O'Connor, and you can get it on in Amazon. Amazon Prime can help you there, Kelly.
There you go.
But
you're talking my language, man.
But it goes into all the things that went into creating this organization. It was a joint one created by the CIA, the DIA, the military, and did some really, really impressive work. And a lot of what we knew about the Soviet Union came out of NPIC and their pictures. We were responsible for the satellites. People have heard of the satellites, and Jack goes into great detail into what the KH-8 and the KH-9 satellites were, and the U-2. In fact, we'll probably make a little cameo appearance in the Tom Hanks movie that's coming up, where the U-2 was shot down.
Yeah.
Those were the folks in NPIC worked that back in the 1950s and 1960s. That's their main source of information.
Yeah.
And they worked in a little building called the Stewart Building in Northwest Washington, which was, again, in a rather dicey part of the city. And it didn't get much better when they finally moved in 1962, on January 1st of 1963, actually, to First and M Street in Southeast, which was also a rather bad part of the town. But who puts an intelligence agency in the ghetto? Well, we did, and it worked.
Trying to hide it.
Exactly, because Russians weren't going to come standing around there, and when all the winos were out there at the Normandy liquor store, keeping an eye on everything for us.
Yeah.
But I think you would find it an interesting read.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. You mentioned Homeland and all the shows that are out. I'm a big fan of like Blacklist, and so we watch all of those shows, and yeah, it's just like instantaneous. They know all of this stuff. There's an app for everything, but we don't appreciate how it really all got started. So that's cool.
And the actual day-to-day work, it takes months, sometimes years, of just tedious day in and day out digging and digging and digging to finally find out what was happening. It took an enormous effort when Reagan went to Reykjavik to talk with Gorbachev and get the missile accord there. We were told to look over an area of I think it was 48,000 square miles to find the SS-20 mobile missiles. Where are all the bases? Give us an exact count on this. And they had to do it within a few months. And if you read the book, they pulled this off.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
And just an aside, Helena and I love to watch things like Homeland and Madam Secretary. She gets very incensed about Madam Secretary.
I don't know that.
Incensed. It's on CBS.
Okay.
And she gets very incensed about Homeland with good reason.
And if I'm not mistaken, the sci-fi movie Chernobyl Diaries is loosely based on this book, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
we followed that, and I won't go into too many details. I can't really. It's still classified.
Yeah.
The deep sci-fi government connection.
Exactly.
Best kept quiet.
That does sound really interesting. I'm definitely going to check that out. That's cool. We're in such an instant gratification society that we really don't appreciate the massive manpower and just effort that goes into stuff like that. So that's really cool. Did you have another one, John?
No, that was it. That was it. Recommendation.
Okay. So, Kelly, what do you have for us this week?
I've got a quick one for this week and a tip so that we can all sound cool. So I did not realize that artificial intelligence is no longer hip. That's not what you say when you talk about
artificial
programmatic art. We talk about artificial intelligence now. I guess you've got to say machine learning, which to me is still artificial intelligence. But you think about like Watson, the IBM thing, and all that kind of stuff. All the cool kids now call what we used to call artificial intelligence machine learning. And so, because I want to be a cool kid, I'm going to talk about a machine learning site, actually funded by Microsite, and it's under www.how-old-net. Howold.net, and it is just a very cool machine learning based algorithm that has gone through millions and millions of photos, taking in gender and age information, and now it takes what it has learned, and you can go type your name in, and sometimes if you type your name in, you get pictures of yourself. Our experience, we did a little playing with this before, and we found out that some of the people on this podcast today, some interesting photos come up when we type their names in, but I don't know if you'd like to share any of your discoveries on that, but basically you type in your name or a celebrity's name or whatever, and it'll give you a series of options of photos that it thinks might be related to your search term, and then you hit it, and it comes back and takes a shot at what the gender and age is, and depending on the photo, it can be pretty scarily accurate, and sometimes it can be a little bit off, because I'm not 100% sure if Mel's 22, but according to How Old, Mel's 22, and I think
I'm totally 22.
So there you go. So it's exactly right.
And John is a leather purse.
Again.
That machine needs to do a little more learning.
A little more learning. But it's a fun little site to kind of do that on yourself, on others to go through and then see what it does. it does offer an option to ask a human. I'm not really sure who would ever take them up on that option.
I want to know who are you asking? Just some. Is it gonna ring a phone on the street? Just to hope some random person. Oh wait, but there's not any payphones anymore because Skynet's taking over.
Maybe it's some random Google employee laying under a desk who gets his phone rings.
Poor slob.
So let's just find out real time when I say get a human opinion. So I did a howold.net on one of my profile pics, and it's actually probably within, I'd say, 2 years of when that pic was taken, so it did really well there. And when I press get a human opinion, let's see what happens. Let's do this. How old do people think you look? Use this face? No, I'm not going to do that. But apparently you could share it out. So you can get human input, you can do those types of things. But it's kind of a cool thing. The hashtag HowOldRobot, you can kind of take it and kind of kick it out. Again, it depends maybe on the results you get, how interested you're going to be doing it. But it is a pretty fun thing. And this whole concept of algorithms, building algorithms, and continuing to take more and more data, apply it, and get better and more effective is very, very cool. And howold.net is a pretty fun way to just play with it a little bit. So that's my recommendation for this week.
I like it. It says I'm 22.
Yep.
22 wasn't a very good year for me, though. But I'll take it at this point.
Me too.
All right. So we're going to go into social media recommendations now, and I'm going to shock all of you by not having one.
Oh.
I know, it's a shock. It's a shock. So, Helena, do you have one?
I do. It's
Okay.
it's a website. They're on Facebook. They're also on Twitter. It's called Atlas Obscura. So it's at Atlas Obscura on Twitter. And if you go to their website and you see how they describe themselves, they say, if you're searching for miniature cities, glass flowers, books bound in human skin, gigantic flaming holes in the ground, bone churches, balancing pagodas, or homes built entirely out of paper, the Atlas Obscura is where you'll find them. It's a collaborative project. They invite readers to give them tips, and they're short little articles, and they are about all kinds of things. So it's always interesting to see what they put up. I would say they post 2-3 times a day, and they're always interesting, and it's just a fun website.
Cool. I sort of want to see one of these giant flaming holes in the ground.
I do
Sort
too.
of. I'm not, maybe not like right here, because I do live above the Burnett Shale, but yeah, somewhere else I'd like to see this giant flaming hole in the ground. Cool.
I like the idea. It's a good thing.
Yeah, the Hellmouth.
It's a great band name.
I know. John?
Okay, I have one. It's a fun little site. It's called Hunting Henry. Hunting Henry. Henry is an Airedale, and Henry is a very well-traveled, and some might say magical Airedale. He sends his photos home from his travels, but he's hard to find in his photos. He's not standing out real front, and it's a lot of fun to just pop up one of the pictures and spot Henry. It only take a few seconds, and
it takes normal people many more seconds than a few.
Oh, it's a few of them. It's an Airedale. I mean, he fades in the background, but he's a pretty Airedale. Airedales are pretty, and they're nice doggies. So
Pretty and pretty easy to find, I hear.
Easy to find. I mean,
Sure.
Easy to find if you've been looking at gray dots your entire career.
but the gradations of gray dots is what matters.
Right. Airedales are brown.
Yeah, but and he does kind of blend into the background sometimes. But when he's there, you can see him, and it's a lot of fun. And he also has his own Tumblr account. It's Hunting Henry at hunting-henry.tumblr.com, and you can see his pictures there, and it's a lot of fun. And you make a comment and you say hi to Henry, and lots of other people also say hi to him and find him, and it's just Nice way to start your day with a smile on your face to find Henry where he's been.
Unless I can't find Henry.
Oh,
And
you
then
can
I
find
start
him
my
now.
day really angry.
Yeah, you'll find him in short order.
Okay.
Piece
I'll
of
take your
cake.
word for it.
That sounds awesome. Cool.
I know.
Well, I know I'm supposed to just give a social media recommendation, but I'm going to give an update, an apology, and a recommendation. But I'll do them quick.
Uh-oh.
So the update, Helena mentioned, flaming hole in the ground. So I did want to give an update. I have bought 30% of the equipment necessary for me to build my forge so that I can melt aluminum. So at the hardware store recently,
Oh.
the dream lives on. So I've got
You'll
the
get
metal bucket.
flagged as a terrorist.
It's going to be awesome. I'm going to melt aluminum cans. It's going to be great. The apology. So you might have noticed Mel asked John at the end of his recommendation, John, do you have any other recommendations? And you might have thought that might have struck you as odd. It wouldn't strike you as odd if you had known that basically we had done this entire show yesterday, and it was great. It was fun. We had talked through all these things. However, the idiot who was responsible for starting the Google Hangout to record forgot to hit the button. And so yesterday, John had a second recommendation, and so that was the background there. So I just wanted to apologize again and thank all three of you for your patience and going through and doing it again today.
Well,
So
I should also mention that this idiot never noticed that the light wasn't on, that we were recording. And I've been here all this time too, man. So.
and
And these two idiots didn't notice either.
Yeah.
But
I
I didn't
didn't
notice
know
till
that.
it was time to shut it off when there was nothing to shut off.
Then we realized it wasn't on.
It was actually very funny, y'all. Kelly took it a little hard, though, you know.
It's so horrible.
And he
But-
should not have. It was a great chance and great opportunity to spend some more time with you guys.
Yes. Thank you for being so understanding.
Yes.
It was funny, though.
Yeah, and by the way, I think of all the guests that we could have on that would be tolerant about that, we are super, super glad it was you two. Because there's some other ones that
You get a little cranky sometimes.
get a
Huh?
little cranky. So
Yeah.
thank you on that. But so after much ado, my recommendation for social media for this week is Trina Henderson, and that is at Henderson HENDERSON _ Trina TRINA. She's an artist. She's working on creating her own comic, and she does fan art, loves comic books and video games. If you go to her Twitter account, definitely hit on the images or photos button and go through. You'll see a lot of her artwork. She's got an awesome watercolor dragon and a zebra with a pink mohawk, which is kind of an interesting thing. But she's a very talented artist. Ran into her. I love watching Gotham, and I love live tweeting during Gotham. And the folks that are live during Gotham, it's a really fun group. So if you aren't watching Gotham, I'd recommend it. And if you do, start tweeting, because there's some really fun people out there, including Trina. And so she's my recommendation for this week.
Cool. Well, I think we have had a lot of good recommendations this show. Thank you to everyone for coming back again.
Absolutely, we loved it.
No surprises.
Absolutely. So I think, does anybody have anything else to add, or are we ready to throw it over to Matt, who we're still being nice to?
We're still being nice because we still don't have what we need from Matt, but soon.
Okay. I don't know, Matt. I'm sorry. I'll try to keep him from, reverting to his old ways. But we're going to turn it over to Matt, who is going to tell all of you how to reach us on Twitter, on the web, by email, which is occasionally checked, and all that cool stuff. So we'll be back next week with more nurture and support. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
You can contact us on our website, nurtureandsupport.net, or email us at nurtandsupp@gmail.com. That's NURTANDSUPP@gmail.com, or tweet us at nurtandsupp on Twitter. You can also catch Nurture and Support on YouTube. Just search Nurture and Support or Kelly Tool.
Nurturing and supporting Journey.